Hello everyone, Naso the Hedgehog here, and welcome back to more Tales of Arise. And I actually brought, we actually got a recurring guest. Why don't you sign back in?
Hello. Good to be back on the channel.
Alright. So let's continue the game, shall we?
Let's.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
He who? Oh, you mean Doherty, don't you?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he looked like he was taking it really hard earlier.
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans and the Great Spirit and all that?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will of its own. But if that
A disaster of a will of its own?
then the only
Okay.
thing left for us to do is stop it.
That sounds fun.
As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Danans and Renans in Menancia is still a work in progress. In my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So,
So she was
to be told
racist.
that they're like us.
Pretty much,
that they're
but that was the
actually
whole entire
just
planet,
like
remember?
us is,
Yeah.
well, I guess it's a little deflating, to be honest. You kept a pretty level head. You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helganquil and the Great Spirit are the ones who are responsible. But at the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily going to believe that either.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long, and understandably so. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going to take to it too kindly.
Yeah, short
Even just
version,
among the
last
Danans,
time we found
I'm sure
out
there'll be
that
some who will
the
use power
Renans and
and some
Danans
who
are the
won't.
same people.
I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance,
Really?
then
Yep.
we'll be in a truly good place.
How do they
Well,
go that
first
long?
we can try to
without
figure out
noticing
what to do
a
about the
similarity
existing
or two?
conflicts we have.
Because
Yeah.
they were
It'd be nice
created
if
by
one day
the
people could learn
same,
to get past their hatred like Rinwell did.
pretty much
It's
the
no
same
small task.
people. They were
We
created.
can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to
Okay.
forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, we'll never move on. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people getting killed.
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that, but to also embrace each other's pain in a sense.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
It's true.
Would you like
Everybody
any
has their own
pizza?
scars, their own
Dragonfire
trauma.
had some left.
The first step
left.
to healing those wounds is to put
Ooh,
aside
yeah,
that
I'll get a
hatred.
slice of pepperoni.
It won't be achieved
There you go.
through reasoning, but I
Thank you.
think it's a good
Yep.
first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell?
Well, after learning
Talk about the Renans,
everything,
look like they shook you up a bit.
yeah, I wouldn't have the
Yeah.
energy either.
I get this sinking feeling
Yeah, just
whenever I
basically
remember
just
how Dan
give
and
up
mages like
trying
my
to figure
family were
everything out at this
persecuted and
point.
died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dana anymore, right?
Have
I
you
know
ever
it's
actually
simple as all
had a
that,
shake
but-
before?
Danans probably won't be so quick to let
shake, what
their
do you mean?
guards down.
You
And there might be
know,
Renans who still act superior because of their
you-
arts.
I guess you've never actually had a shake, have you?
300 years
I
of
don't
bad
think so.
blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah. I know firsthand just how much hatred
Ah,
can
here
take
you
hold
go.
in your heart once you let it in.
Ooh.
But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know,
What flavor is
I
this
could use my
anyways?
position
Shamrock.
as both a Danon and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Ah, delicious.
That great
Favorite
spirit
flavor.
worries me too, though. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it,
Because they're
Everett
bored.
35 and the other scientists
Exactly.
here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know
Right.
either.
Wouldn't you destroy a
Maybe.
planet just because
But
you're bored?
regardless, at the end
Yep.
of the day, Dan is still our
I
home.
can't.
There's no way
Maybe
we can
you
let
can.
it be destroyed.
Yep.
We won't.
And
Keep it
I'm
safe
actually
no
gonna
matter
be
what.
training under my father here
I still
soon,
can't believe it, man.
so I can get
You're not
stronger.
the only one still trying to make sense of all this.
I-
Believe me.
Really? You've never struck me as the type of guy to get hung up on these sorts of things.
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleton? Once my memory started coming back to me, I felt completely and totally lost.
It was really that bad for you?
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Oh yeah, I remember
I was
that.
too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad.
I might have
and
missed
running
that
away
one.
from the truth.
Yeah, you weren't here for that
was
one.
the way to live. And I've tried to stay strong, my way. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all too much for me to handle right now.
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons, but I never really opened up to anyone about them. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, I didn't know what I should do or who to tell. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important. I just had to open up
Yeah,
and
our
listen.
friendship.
In other words,
Ugh.
Yeah.
if you let the
Gross.
big picture stuff get you all muddled up
Disgusting.
inside, you'll begin to lose sight of what you really care about. Yeah, I think you're
But
right.
I'm guessing that you have to deal with someone similar to that.
All I want to do is
Yep.
protect the people that really matter to me. To
Humble.
fight for them.
He's
That's
cool.
good enough, right?
Not everyone is strong enough to
Not
fight.
as
Huh?
It's
not-
something
not
your
as
dad
cool
told
as I
me
am.
once when he was still alive.
Well, clearly.
Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care about.
yeah.
Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of what you want to protect in the first place. Sound good?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins of the Renans?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be indelible fade away in mere seconds.
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here is actually true.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, it's a rather elaborate one.
Well, yeah, I mean, if that's a lie, but we don't know if it's true or
Ever
not.
since your memory returned, Alphen.
Sure
You
you
as well,
truth.
Shion. About your thorns and being a maiden.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Oh yeah,
To say the
I
least.
heard that you
But
and
enough about me. I'm not
um,
concerned for myself. What
you
concerns
and
me is
Rough,
all of the other
well,
Renans
you
out
and
there.
Tough pretty much
When you say the other
actually
Renans, you mean
ran
the ones that are living on Lenegis
and
or
met
Dana, right?
someone named Starline.
Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still
Yeah.
remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long
Let's
and
just say I
hard
did
about
not
where it
expect
is
it
that
to
we
be
wish to return to.
Right.
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis or come down to Dana, huh? And right now, Lenegis might not even be a safe option.
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, things could turn dire. There is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred to overcome between us. And the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us Renans. Our own circumstances as the aggressors are irrelevant.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be so down about people reconciling.
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks. Still, even now, there remain ardent dissidents.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on Lenegis after this is all over?
Indeed, I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, I remain determined. On that note, I have something of a favor to ask of you, Alphen.
Oh? What is it?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably. As the one and only blazing sword, I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when problems arise.
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot of you. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without any bloodshed. That is why.
You're the same as ever, Dohalim.
Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal when you're asking for a favor. Listen, there's no need for that. We're friends.
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends. Alphen, will you help me?
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you, my friend.
Ugh. Friendship. Ugh.
Well, it sounds like
you're really
everyone's
getting
learning
sick
from
of
their
that
past
word.
and using it to create a better future for everyone.
What about
Well,
you?
when
How
you
do you
deal
feel
with
about the
someone on
origin of
a
the Renans?
daily basis that
To be
it
honest,
reminds you of a
not
certain
really all that
someone,
shocked,
it
actually.
gets annoying.
I mean, I might be a Renan in the
Yeah,
literal sense,
it's fair.
but I've never really felt like
I will
one
give
of
you
them.
that one.
Right now, it's kind of a
But
mystery.
yeah, no one you call friend
How do you mean?
out there.
Because for a really, really long time,
I mean, you
all
deal
I
with
ever
him
thought about
as
was how he
well,
was going to
probably.
die. Not if or when, but how. I
Yeah.
thought I'd die alone. That fate had me in its steely grip. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, how could I have? It's been going on for 300 years. All this tragedy and destruction. When you consider the Helganquil's part in all this, it's been even longer than that. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it, before it was too late. How it fell on us, of all people, to heed that call, is a mystery.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting destroyed. She considered me, a Danan, as a real person. And she very much cherished her own people, too. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved just so they could go back to hurting each other. Ah, maybe this is what she meant.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff like everyone's needing to meet halfway and embrace each other's pain and suffering. She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own hatred. That means forgiving other people, even and especially before they forgive you.
Forgiving. So it goes both ways, right?
Wow,
Is
they're
that what
learning
you're
about that. Ugh.
Yeah,
Yay.
I don't
We're
just
back
mean
in
forgiving
third
things
grade.
that happened in the past either. Conflicts will keep happening. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better future, we have to all learn to forgive each other.
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy getting past this pain. But if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand each other. I'm there with you, Shion. I too want to protect the world we live in and all the people we care about. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori for everything that she did.
Yeah, I want a
But the
future
other
that she
world's
would feel
just
proud to
destroyed,
live in.
right?
And I'm
Pretty
going to
much.
fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior.
The other world,
We're here to save you too.
I'm not
you
sure
know.
if you'll be
Yes,
able
I
to
know.
see it, because I don't know if you're coming in the next
worry,
part,
I haven't
but
forgotten.
let's just say
I want to
it's
live. And that's the
not a
honest
pretty
truth.
picture.
Oh.
Well, is
Well.
everybody ready to do what needs to be done?
I am. There's a lot to think about, but at the end of the day, Dan is still in danger. I don't care who we're up against. We'll kick their ass.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's on your mind, too.
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on Rena, then so be it. It's trying to rob us of our entire world. And it's going to take not just our home, but all of existence along with it. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw on Lenegis, I take it?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it,
Yeah,
it's the same one that she sees
you
from
weren't
her
here
own
for
dreams
that.
as well.
Indeed. Shion's
Yeah.
thorns are comprised of dark
Just
astral
a
energy.
lot of this is going over my
One
head a
type
little
which
bit.
we know is native
Well,
Well,
only to
again,
the
you
look at
weren't
this.
here for this part.
And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind
Yeah.
Dana's pending
That's the part I
destruction,
did with my father, so...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit?
What?
It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
Excuse me?
We
What?
don't know anything for certain. At the
They
very least,
think that her
think it's
thorns
possible her
is the
thorns are
Great
a part of
Spirit
the Great
itself. The very
So-
thing that's trying to destroy
while
the
main
world.
body resides in Rena.
Ah, so an easy fix. Kill her.
Shion,
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous, large enough to house the will of an entire planet. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely 6.
And we only know about the Thorns connection thanks to Naori.
Everett 35 has been observing the great astral spirit this whole time. It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Let's go see what that is.
So if the Sovereign and Maiden were originally boot-up programs for Lenegis, what about now?
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins and the Renaissance stolen, Lenegis is functioning fine. If it needed us before, it doesn't appear to now.
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're discarded like you're nothing? Who the hell do they think they are?
More importantly, who do they think we are? We might not even factor into their list of concerns.
I just hope everyone on Lenegis is safe.
Worst comes to worst, Lenegis is equipped with a large number of starships that people can escape in. As long as the whole satellite doesn't suddenly explode or something, they should be fine.
Wait, explode?
Oh
In any
no.
case, if we're truly going to make a difference, it's on Rena we're needed, not
Explode.
Lenegis.
Yep.
People there will be fine, I'm sure of it.
Or good.
Right.
For whoever is involved.
Do you have your answer for me? We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. How exactly do you expect us to do that? You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated.
At the core.
Therefore, if you destroy the core,
Alright.
the great spirit shall become
That's going
unable
to,
to
like,
maintain sentience
fiery
and return
point.
to being ordinary
Fire
astral
and-
energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy
Oh
that core?
boy.
By using the Renis Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Renis Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations,
Hey,
your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will
Erased.
kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so
You
clear.
don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die, that we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
This plan shall lead to the fewest losses in preserving your world. Abandoning it is irrational.
That's...
It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit already resides within her. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
That
Which would make
explains it.
Alpha's earlier hypothesis correct.
Yeah.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile and will only serve to strengthen it.
Strengthen? Oh, shoot.
Holy crap.
Wait. Naori said that the Renis Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns can be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renis Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the great astral spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed. I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Ugh.
Why you?
Fine then.
So basically,
I'm
do
going
what
to
I
stay
say,
here
you're
and
gonna
rock
never
and
leave
do
this
it your
planet.
way.
Pretty much.
Alpha?
Yeah.
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegus.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
Oh, good lord.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head
Of course.
straight for the Great Spirit and
That
take it
guy
back?
has it.
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated.
That would be
in the
like
center
if
of
Starline had the
where
Master
Great
Emerald.
Spirit's core is located.
Yep.
So right in the middle of that giant flower then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse, and the Great Spirit will likely not reform.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Oh, jeez.
Likely, the collapse will occur in
I don't know.
stages. It is recommended
Don't know
that you
what's
all
a bad
escape before the
situation.
final stage.
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for once.
Havrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar, is all.
Alright.
Oh,
Fix our starship.
stop a planet
We're
destroying
going to
being.
Excellent.
But I want to
Further
make one thing
destruction.
clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for your sake, or because you told us to. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The end result shall be the same.
I hardly doubt that.
You'll have to
Yeah,
wait
they
until
are
it's
the
finished.
protagonists.
Is the Renis Alma really...
I'm
open
pretty
to
sure
this
they're
Great
gonna
Spirit?
change
There
fate
has to be
and make
another
it to
way,
where
right?
she lives.
Was able to
Because that's what they're
suppress
fighting
astral
for
energy
the whole
to prevent it from
time.
gaining
I'm hardly
sentience,
doubt
right?
that we're gonna have
Couldn't we make use of that
a
somehow?
horrible ending.
I'm not sure. In small doses,
Yeah,
maybe.
especially in this
And with the
game.
amount of energy we're talking about here.
Back in Calaglia, the
Especially
blazing
on the
sword was
fact
able
that
to
they all
take out
talk
the
about
spirit
friendship.
vessels with energy. If it has the
Yeah.
capacity to manage that, it can do this, right?
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later. Remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could use the Master Core, your body wouldn't be able to take the strain of channeling that much energy.
Havrek 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So assuming it's even possible, the chances are slim to none.
You're probably right.
I like those odds.
Mm-hmm.
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that,
Hated them
Dolan.
for being
You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light.
extremely bad.
Thanks to your reforms,
Mhm.
we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Danans.
That
Exactly.
is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Danans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
Reminds me of Sonic. Ugh.
Do away with the hierarchy out
Yeah,
front.
those blasted
Deal with one another
hedgehogs,
as
friends.
humans, and nothing more. That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, they really talk about it.
I think it would make for a fine tribute to my
Especially for
brother's
Hyrule.
legacy.
Ugh.
Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lennigus when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lennigus proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate
Wow.
your patience as I work all this out.
Yep.
You can clearly see they like
And
each
really,
other.
When you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different
Love is
after
in the
all,
air, apparently.
don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, now we're getting... Okay, I guess this is the
Hey,
couple
why'd you call me here?
scenes.
Was there something you wanted to
Yeah,
talk about?
everyone got finally time to
Well,
tell their true feelings before
If
they
everything
die.
we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before. About whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Ringwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
You mean like The Sims?
But
Or,
you
yeah.
really trust Dana's will, don't you?
Or,
Is it
maybe they
because
know
you can
they're
sense
in
it
a
a lot
video
more than
game.
the rest of us? Because you can understand
Or what
Yeah.
Starline can
I think
do?
that might be part of it,
Yeah.
but I think I also want to
And
believe it's good.
Finitivus.
it. Believe?
Remember
Oh,
how
that's
I
right,
said
you don't
Lily
know
was
who
coming from a
Finitivus
family
is.
of mages?
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course. Because you were always on the run and had
He's
to live
pretty
without it.
similar to
When we
Starline.
rescued Zephyr and I
Really?
finally decided
Yep.
to come
How
along
so?
with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Ringwell.
This whole scene,
and that's
he
enough for me.
barely looked at
So
it.
I'll trust it because you...
Mm-hmm.
Remember what I said about neither planet's great spirit reaching us here?
Yeah?
That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you and everyone else.
You... what?
What?
I sensed it when we
Say
first
what?
got here. It's a really small amount, so it doesn't feel like it has a will of its own. But I think that's how Dana's energy probably is too.
She can
So you're
sense
saying there's a little bit of
energy.
Dana's will inside each of us?
Of course.
In a way, doesn't that
Uh,
mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
How convenient.
Well, like you said,
yeah.
unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside us,
Yeah. Maybe.
Effort 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. That's who I am now. Who I've become. So thanks, Rinwell, for sharing that with me.
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will, well, I mean, it mostly was... I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind.
There we go. He almost.
Just forget about it.
He almost.
Almost said
What were
it.
you
Was so
saying?
Yes.
close.
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were
No,
thinking?
that's not what I'm
Then
saying.
spit it out already.
Typical. Typical couple arguing.
No, actually, no. They're just best friends.
Sure they are.
I mean, look at it. They
You
have
sure you
best
don't wanna
friend
get some rest?
energy, right?
And here's the other couple.
Can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Shion?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? Oh, that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, the beginning of the
Ages and ages
game.
ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the game.
If I had to run into you that day,
Wow.
well,
So
I
what,
wouldn't
like
have met all of you.
5 hours ago?
I never would have had the brazen sword and looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back.
Yeah.
I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen, I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Renis Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Hevrick 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma back, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Oh shoot.
It's true
Yeah, I
the
feel
blazing
like she
sword
asked
may
this
not have the
question.
strength of the Renis Alma.
Yep. She's pulling a Cosmo.
It's slain lords and
Yep.
beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything that
Listen,
we...
the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Danans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shion. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Shion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, you didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
You can tell they like each
I
other.
felt pain back then.
Oh yeah, most definitely. There is something there.
They're just hiding it.
You could, though. You still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before. But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
See?
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Ooh, that's a big word.
yeah.
He was gonna say it, but she stopped him.
Yep.
You know that those two like each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll find out next time what happens.
Yep.
Anything you'd like to say before we go?
Yeah, half of this episode was just like people loving each other, and I gotta go throw up.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, thank you guys again for watching this part. Again, I don't know if he's going to be coming back for the next part, but I'll see you guys in the next one myself. Catch you guys next time. Goodbye.